So recently there's been a debate between Christian apologist David Wood and Muslim brother John Fontaine, who I had an interview with. They debated the subject of the Islamic dilemma, supposedly. I'm still in the middle of watching that debate. Very interesting, yet a lot of it is trash. David Wood is still using the same exact arguments that me and him discussed over a decade ago, many points of which I pointed out to him. David makes the same severe blunders and assumptions that are based on no evidence or unproven. QAnon, quasi-pseudo-scholarship that we expect from people like that. This is one of the reasons why, even while I was a Christian, I was just fed up and done with the whole Christian apologist scene and decided to actually enroll in seminary and pursue being an elder instead of being online pushing misinformation. One of the points that David continues to make is telling his audience that the Christians would be uppermost according to the Quran. So that means that the Quran affirms Christianity, his version of Christianity that he follows, his divine logos Christianity. There's lots of problems with that. First of all, you need to actually read the verse in the Quran to understand what it says. So we're talking about Ali Imran, chapter number 3, verse 55, which states what means in English translation, mentioned when Allah said, "Oh Jesus, indeed, I will take you and raise you up to myself and purify you from those who disbelieve and make those who follow you superior to those who disbelieve until the day of resurrection. Then to me is your return and I will judge between you concerning that in which you used to differ." Obviously, this is Allah speaking to Jesus, peace be upon him. So there's absolutely no possible way that this could be referring to David Wood and his followers. It's impossible that this could be a reference to David Wood's divine logos version of Christianity. Why is that? Because divine logos Christianity does not exist at the time that the historical Jesus would have been alive. John 1:1 would not be an evidence of divine logos Christianity. The ideology doesn't exist in the end of the first century or even towards the 120 when many scholars say John, the Gospel of John would have been written. It's not until figures like Justin Martyr come along that we even begin to see the start of divine logos Christianity. And Justin Martyr's version, his ideas about the divine logos are nothing like what somebody like David would believe. Justin Martyr talks about a divine logos who is subordinate to the Father and who is another God. And his ideas become very influential. He starts this whole movement of the divine logos, and other early church fathers follow behind him. And when we're talking about Justin Martyr, we're talking about a time frame in the mid-2nd century. The Quranic passage in Ali Imran is referring to followers of Jesus during the lifetime of Jesus. We're talking about, maybe between the 30s and 40s in the 1st century. So obviously that would be referring to Palestinian Christianity, possibly some of the Essenes, because, many people don't realize that there are different groups of people under the label Essenes and other groups under the label of Nazarene. And that would include a large group of Palestinian, Jewish, Aramaic-speaking Christians who ascribe to dynamic monarchialism. These people would have believed in a non-divine messianic Jesus, peace be upon him, born of a virgin. They would not subscribe to a divine logos who pre-existed, a Messiah that is subordinate to God, the Father. They would hold to nothing that even resembles Trinitarianism, as we understand it after Nicaea. So it is those monotheist Palestinian followers of Jesus who will be uppermost to the day of judgment. And that doesn't necessarily mean their uppermostness, for lack of a better word, would have been political power or military power. It would be their truthfulness. So no, David's argument is whack.